So when you are thinking about the political realities in which you are living in, I would like you to ask yourselves, do you prefer what you're living in now prior to the hyper-politicization of everything, right? Since the extreme left has kicked up and fired up the extreme right. Is this what you want to live in? Do you know what that does to those of us that don't want to live in either extreme? It's like being tortured cognitively. Seriously, it is. It's like being tortured every single day cognitively. Now, that's why we warn you that what you've sown, you will reap. There's only so much people can take dealing with this kind of level of insanity, and only so long that they can deal with it. You are crushing their minds and their bodies. You've created an environment that is damn near impossible to be informed in, right? And to actually exist in and remain relatively cogent and sane. This is the world that you've created with this binary simulacrum. So when I warn you about these things, I'm not warning you in a vacuum, right? I didn't make this stuff up and pull it out of, my ass. There's been a lot of due diligence, a lot of research, and a lot of time invested in explaining to you what it is that you've created inadvertently or intentionally in some cases, right? To show you how it's impacting everybody. It either is it's something to help you out of this, right? So it's a blessing, or now it's exposed, it becomes a curse and part of your court case, because now you're responsible for it. There's nowhere to hide. Everybody knows what's going on. So what you need to do is you need to ask yourselves, what is your responsibility in this? Are you aware of your impacts on others? Are you aware of your impact on people that are not your enemies, that you may perceive as your enemies because you are not thinking cogently? You are a prisoner to your confirmation biases. Now consider what I'm telling you. I'm not making this stuff up, right? There's a lot of psychology, a lot of science. A few people have come to me and said, well, why is it you hate science so much? Don't you know that science is good? First off, I am not anti-science. Far from it. What I'm against is scientism, when science has been made into a religion and then they use it to bash people that are religious, right? That's no different than what the religious people did when they were fighting science, many hundreds of years ago. It's just the other side of it. That's why I call it out. I have no tolerance for either side of the binary simulacrum. Science has a proper context and a proper place and a proper way of addressing things to actually get verifiable and accurate data using the scientific method. It's not about your confirmation biases or fudging the data to make it appear like your preconceived suppositions, your preconceived notions are right. That's confirmation bias, and it actually corrupts any kind of science that you do. And then, of course, you can take good science and misapply it, right, in a wrong way and create an even bigger problem. That's what I mean, is that everything has been cut down, misappropriated, misapplied, misused, and is being, used to mislead people for personal gain. You created a system, right? I mean, social media, if there's one thing that you can point to that has just had a desolation-like effect on the people, it's social media. I mean, did you not think that without media literacy, digital media literacy, and teaching people how to critically think, and putting safeguards in there, right, so foreign influences couldn't get to them, did you think that wouldn't have an impact? Did you think that wouldn't have a negative impact on the public? No, you didn't. Because you know what? This is the problem I have with our system as it is right now. And why I say greed is one of the biggest pandemics that we have here. Once the business community gets a hold of something, their highest virtue is profit. It isn't about what they do impacting people for good or evil. They don't give a damn. Their highest good is maximizing profit. Now, I'm not against making a profit. That's why businesses exist. But when it comes at the expense of wisdom and proper application, and it creates devastation in people, if it becomes crony capitalism, or in this case, cannibal capitalism, then I'm absolutely against it. That doesn't make me a socialist or a communist. It means I'm a just human being. It means that I'm against anything that is destructive to human flourishing. I don't think that the highest virtue in any society should be maximizing profit. It should be maximizing benefits to those whom you serve. In this case, creating the best products and services, right, in the best way possible to serve the public good. To serve your consumers, right, your users, your customers, good. If you cannot do that, and you don't care about how it impacts people, well, then I have no use for you. I see you as an enemy. Not only an enemy to me, but an enemy to the state. An enemy to heaven and earth and the civil authorities and spiritual authorities alike. Now, you can hate me for that, but I really don't care. Because the fruit on the tree of your avarice and hubris is obvious. Everybody can see it. I mean, look at what you've cloned yourself into in China and become more China-like than they are here. You've corrupted yourselves. This is the consequences of the worship of mammon. Is it any wonder, right, that more is never enough? Right? Yet, people want to fight me on that all the time. What do you think's really behind the politicization, the hyper-politicization of the country? Well, money, of course. Greed. Right? Money being congealed time and power. And of course, it's a lust for power, influence, and control. And it's all based in the roots of pride. Now, how's that working for you? Seriously. I mean, there is a time where you have to pay the consequences, right? And harvest what it is you've sown. And when it's reaped, it becomes all too apparent what it is that you actually sowed and for what reasons, and your intent, right? And for whom, and for what, and how it is that you did it. That is where you're at. and is also, as it is for people, so too it is for the nation and nations.
Party from the way of truth. This is why we say where the leaders have no vision, the people perish. When governing logic and its guiding truth which upholds it is undermined, a nation-state and its leaders remove the keystone which holds their societies together and enters into a blindness which guides their decisions to further and faster degeneration. This is so because having shunned truth, their logic is further corrupted, which leads to unwise decisions and actions based upon that faulty logic.
And the sophistry of the digitalized reality. The flaccid morbidity of these days is seen in how lies are elevated to the level of truth, and the truth is plundered to fashion the lies which seek to extinguish the very truth it needs to steal to keep itself in existence. In the end, the lies are all exposed by its dependence upon the truth. Thusly the truth will always win because it needs no lie to be true.